Um, Good evening. I've just decided to come on and continue what I know I said. I know I said the lighting. Hold on a sec. Yeah, I know my hair is. Look, I'm not doing anything to my hair for the time being because I want to do the baby angels the chioma, you know. So, but I'm just letting it do its own thing because I'm drinking matcha latte. Perfect. It hasn't got that strong matcha taste. Although it tastes like matcha, but I won't say it's like perfect homemade, but it's got some perfection to it. Oh, and yeah, now I taste it. Maybe I need to shake it up. Yeah, I tasted the matcha now. So I know I said that I was gonna do a series on the power of prayer and postures. Today I didn't get any. I didn't plan because I've been so occupied with other things. Plus, I can't find my camera bag. I went talking about matcha. I went with this camera bag out the other day, right? Now I can't find where I put it. But I'll find it. I'll find it because it's got, and I think it's got an SD card or something. I'm not sure what could be in there, but I know there's the other things I could just re-buy online, but you know, I'd rather just find it. Anyway, let me put this phone on charge. Yeah. So as I go into the importance, like the posture, the importance of one's posture in prayer. I haven't planned it out, no scriptures, no nothing. But if I do get scriptures, then I would definitely, you know, I would definitely um share them with you. So before we start, as I said, I don't pray, but I'm being led to maybe do a short prayer before we begin. Father God, we bless your holy name. We give you the highest praise and honor for being with us in this moment. For those who watch, whether it's 6 people, whether it's 2 people, whether it reaches more people, we just want to give you all the praise. Let us not pride ourselves in our own understanding, but let us give you all the honor. As I go into teaching, open my eyes and show me, guide me into what I should share with the people that you want the message to reach. Bless each and everybody individually who will watch this. Amen. So the importance of posture in prayer. Some people are flimsy like this in prayer. Some people will be flimsy like this. So sometimes you have to tighten them and, position them like, yeah. So, yeah. So you can't be flimsy in prayer. I mean, each to their own, but you can't be flimsy in prayer. Like, yeah. You can't be flimsy in prayer. I was just Sheridan's TikTok, and she was talking about how she was sharing actually a few good points, like questions like how we can't keep like for those who are in the sports that she does, yeah. Like, to keep shooting the ball, there's people that just and I get what she meant. Each to their own, though. Each to their own. Yeah. I'm just trying to download in my head where to start from. From the notes I made last, it was like 2 sentences, but I said I'll be sharing the importance of correct posture when praying. Okay. I personally just think posture shows reverence. And what is reverence? Reverence is honor, right? Posture shows reverence. It shows that you are concentrated on what you're doing. Some could say it's an art form in what you're doing or what you're trying to achieve. And what you're trying to achieve. So if I lay prostrate, for example, people in church would say, some will go and prostrate. One thing that touched me once is that I was watching Prophet Louis. I think he was in South Africa, and he went to he went to is Hope a Prophet Hope's church, and I'm guessing he was on his way somewhere. Though I was upset with Prophet Levy because we had planned out. I was about to cry. Do you know why? Because I just realized Prophet Hope's name is my sister. I could have had a sister named Hope. So when I just realized, I always read his name and I it's today I'm just realizing that, oh, that could have been. So I almost cried because I think about her all the like a lot of times, and I'm like, what could have been? And it's also been something that I've been. There's a certain anger, but I feel like a holy anger. Like I'm not angry, but I'm just like, especially because I prayed, and I remember praying only to hear that she didn't survive. It really tore me. It really did tear me. It tore me. Anywho, so sometimes I think, and sometimes I see visions of like her running around, what kind of character she could have been like. I'm just like, girl. And the fact that she would have added something to this family. Do you get me? Because she would have been between my mom and my stepfather. And she would have added maybe a missing piece to this family. However, it's like, so there's been like, yeah, but I just let it go, and I'm just like, it is well. It is well. Yeah, and I'm just like, what would it have been like if my children had met Juliet? But then this is where I question, and I'm like, this is where I had to question my parents, and I'm like, you could have done more. You could have done a bit more instead of being too much into my business. You could have done more. However, I'm not gonna keep holding on to that part. So this is why as I had to change a certain cycle in my own life and say, So for me, I'm just sharing what's on my heart and on my mind at the moment. So sometimes I call my son my brother. I said this a while ago, and I was like, sometimes I look at him like I'm his big sister, and he's like my little brother sometimes. So, yeah. And the fact that my grandma was like to my mom, when are you gonna have a son? So in a way, she's kind of like his son. But then certain things, I just, yeah, like my mom only had daughters, me and my sister. I think because I grew up in a Zimbabwean household where it was mostly noise, cousins. I think I'm very used to that. Just, I'm very used to noise. Just kids running around everywhere, kids playing, doing their own thing here and there. You know, the adults just gisting while the kids are misbehaving in the bedrooms, hide and seek in the garden. I'm, you know, where we would all sleep on one bed. On this bed, we would sleep like three of us. And then wake up, go to school. I did my cousins go to no. But then they had their own place. Like they lived in their own places, but they would come to visit a lot of times. So their house didn't really feel empty because I lived as an only child for my parents in Zimbabwe, right? However, because I had cousins coming to my house all the time, or certain cousins would bring their wives and their kids, would always have family issues that needed to be dealt with, but it was fun. It was an experience. You know, so the house was always not noisy, but there was always something going on. So when I see my two kids running around, and I'm like, there could have even been more of us just talking and just even here in England, there was a time where I wish some people would come alive. What happened to those bots that Lovey was apparently sending? Even in England, I remember we ended up moving in with this other family, and they had how many kids? I think 5. And the house was always there was always something going on. It was just 2 girls, and then the rest were boys. You know, there was always something going on, something happening. Ah, just having to share the bathrooms. But it never was an issue. Like we never used to fight over the bathroom like that because there were like how many en suites? 1, 2, and then the bathroom and then the toilet downstairs. So we never really used to fight over that. You get me? Because I could sit in the bathtub for hours with my laptop plugged on the charger, and then you hear somebody knocking. Hey. But we never used to fight for the bathroom like that. I think they used to fight for the bathroom a lot more when it time to go to school, and then we'll be riding our bikes to school. And then we'll be riding our bikes to school. After school, we'll be outside, either in the front garden or the back garden. Somebody's on my rollerblades, would be rollerblading in the house. the youngest the youngest boy would be turning off the electricity and my mom would be doing a dissertation for university, and then he'll just go and turn off the electricity. I'm like, what's wrong with this one? But I don't know what he was upset about. Oh, no, I remember what he was upset about. Because when they moved in, the kids, he would just come in and just change the channel on our TV. These times they had a TV upstairs. And he kind of reminds me a little bit of my son. I think maybe it's just the way that the because he was quite slim. He'll just change the channel. And I'm like, it's not your parents that are paying full rent here. He'll just change the channel. I'm like, you've got a TV upstairs. We've got a TV upstairs. And then it'll be up. I'm like, remember, I'm also an only child for my parents. Because we had 2 living rooms. They had their living room upstairs. We had a living room downstairs. He would just come and change. What's wrong with you? So then I started going upstairs and just spending hours on their computer. I didn't know if they cared. After 5 hours, they'll be like, all right, you need to go. And I'm like, but we'll be on because they used to use High Five before this Facebook, MySpace, even before MySpace, there was High Five. High Five was lit. Bebo. Tagged. What websites were there? There were websites. Who even introduced you to all those? Yeah. And then sometimes I'll give them my laptop though. Sometimes I'll give them my laptop and then sometimes MP3. And then the eldest didn't return because my dad bought, you know how when they brought out the iPods, was it that, what are they called? iPods. Yeah, there was a specific, I got something different from the iPod, right? And I always used to get different things. Everybody was on the Motorola Wave. Me, I ended up getting this other flip phone. And then people were like, oh, because I never used to bring my flip phone out. Because I was like, oh, it's not really a Motorola. It was LG, right? It was LG and everybody was on the Motorola Wave. And I was like, I don't really want to bring mine out because it's kind of different from a lot of people that I see in school. So when I brought out my LG, this Indian boy that used, he was like, oh, Dawn, you've actually got a flip, like a phone. Like, she's got a flip phone too, you know? I was like, duh. I was like, duh. And he was like, oh, she's also got a flip phone too, you know? I was like, you people think I'm broke or what? Or my parents are broke. Hello, we live in a whole 3-story building. What are you saying? Yeah, I was like, hello. It's not even my father paying my phone bill. It's my mom who bought me, and she shouted because me, I used to overspend on the telephone. Me, I talking to boys, talking to Gialem. It wasn't just boys I was talking to. It was Gial. Yeah, because I was always. Was this before? Nah. I remember one time I was on the landline talking to some boy, and he was 15 years old, 14. He's busy telling me how he was also a virgin and I was a virgin, right? But I told him I wasn't a virgin. But I think he knew. No, I did tell him I was a virgin. And then he was like, I want to take you to ecstasy. Hey, the moment my father had ecstasy, he was going upstairs. He finished work. The moment he had ecstasy, yeah, he came back downstairs, down the stairs. He came back down the stairs. Bah, 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 bah. Turn that phone off. But he was Nigerian. He was like, oh, sorry, sir. So yeah. I remember when I decided to leave him for a Ghanaian boy. He started going nuts. Like he started crying. He was like, Dawn, you know, you're the only girl that's ever made me feel like this, and then you now come and dump me after I even told you about my sisters. I was like, why did I dump him though? No, because he was just talking to other girl, telling me certain different things about all these girls used to do for him. This one used to buy me a laptop, this one bought me this one bought me that. I was like, oh, that's nice. I was like, oh, that's nice. Oh, this other girl did this for my birthday, but I don't like when she tries to do public displays of affection. I'm like, so I'm like, okay. So at a certain point, there was this guy named Guy that we started talking. So I was on MSN. So on MSN, I decided, was it on MSN? I was like, look, me and you can't really be together like that. Oh, let me even tell you the story about church. I remember. I'm not keeping it PG. Wait, which channel am I recording on from? Hopefully it's the right channel, because I really hope it's the right channel that I'm on, that I'm recording from. Because now I think I can record from another channel because it's gotten over 100 whatever. But anywho, it is what it is. Can I minimize? Which channel am I on? Anywho, it is what it is, even if it's the wrong channel. So I remember, I just saw some big booty. So was this even after we dumped each other or what? I'm not sure. But if my choir leader from back then is on this channel, she'll know this story. I remember we went for choir practice to Old Kent Road, LMM, Old Kent Road, Bermondsey. You know the way I used to love those choir practices all night. I used to enjoy those choir practices. So, but there was one, because he lived in South as well. He lived in South London. So, I was more excited to see him. I was more excited. Because it was kind of like an online dating thing. So he was telling me how, oh, you go to that church. He was like, I'll go to this church and I play the keyboard in this church. And then funny enough, some girl that was on my Bebo, she used to call me and we would talk for hours. So her brother, his name was Nyasko. I don't know what that means. And I just found it fascinating because I was like, oh, my sister's name is Nyasha. So me and I used to talk for hours and she would just talk and talk and talk. So when I found out that she was from the same area and that the boy I was now dating went to the same church as her and he was the keyboardist, the banter even got, the banter even got more sweeter between me and her. Did I just let out some wind? Is the matcha? That one I wasn't expecting. Hmm. So, I remember because it was my choir leader, and she would drive me and other people to choir practice. Right. Sonia, if you watch this, you remember this story. I hope you're in cadence. I'll even post it for your husband to see on WhatsApp. Eh, so me, I was so excited to see him. We've been talking all the time. I was excited to see him. And we'd been kind of like talking sexually. Me talking about posture of prayer. Yeah, God forgive me. God forgive me. But it's not every day. We were talking about, yeah. The moment I saw him now, me, I didn't know about shave. Me, I thought we were gonna meet up, just hug, kiss, maybe just take him into LMM. You know how, babes, how you doing? Quiet practice, people are singing. And LMM, it was not just 100 people in choir, 3 people, like how you people do, like 3 people. Like Pastor Chris, we were doing crusades. And Pastor Chris's choirs, they'll be packed. So imagine 1,000 people are going into choir. And the funniest thing is that the LMM leader ended up announcing it another year that some of you, instead of doing choir practice, will be outside. We'll be doing certain things in cars with people. Is this what you came for? This time Sinach also came. I was like, I swear I just saw Sinach with a bottle of champagne in the middle of choir practice. Is that coffee? Is that what's going to wake her up? Because those choir practice all night prayers sometimes will be sleeping. Or was it just me who will be sleeping? Because you hear people sing. I mean, sometimes I'll wake up. Hey, after maybe you've come from school or you've come from college and you have to go because it was on a Friday. On a Friday, sometimes I would even take train, or one of my exes would even take me on the train because he wasn't really a church goer. So he would be like, all right, let me drop you so I see exactly where you're going. These times I'm going for LMM choir practice. He'll drop me and then go back, right? And then I'll walk and see all the nightclubs. I'll see all the nightclubs, just next to Bermondsey. Bermondsey was lit. Bermondsey was so lit. Then, yeah, anyway. So I remember, I'm meeting this guy. It's like, oh, you're going for choir practice. They're so excited to see him now. And then he just presses me against the wall, the Jura wall. If you know Bermondsey, you know the Asda opposite Christ Embassy, Bermondsey. He just presses me against that wall and then puts his hand in my trouser. And I was like, oh, you didn't shave? I was like, no. And then he starts. And then he starts doing whatever he was doing. And then we were lip sync now. Yeah, we were lip sync. And my heart was beating. I was like, I hope nobody sees me. I said, I hope nobody sees me. And apparently these people are going to park the car because I got out the car. I was in a rush because I was talking to him. I was like, I am out. So I got out the car and I was like, I can't even find my lip gloss. I just think I just dropped my lip gloss in Sonia's car. Eh, Anyway, so he's like, you haven't shaved. I was like, nah, because I wasn't expecting it to be like that. These times this guy had this naughty look in his eye, like, I don't care. And then he starts, I was just, but I was like, what the, eh? Eh, eh, eh. And then, whatever. Then I was like, look, I gotta go. Then I went, then whatever. Then I went into service. Now I felt so like, Roger, did I just do that? I just hope my choir leader didn't see me. A few months later, she went and announced it. She's like, we know, we saw you. She's like, we saw you. I was like, I was like, no. I was like, no. Hey. But then when I started hearing stories that some people are busy kissing in the cars, yay. People are kissing in the cars. People are doing the most in them announcements. That's when Sister Faith used to also, was she? She was an usher, but she also used to, I think she used, no, was she dating a cameraman? So I think her and the cameraman, hey God, she's married now. I don't know if she got, God. Yeah. Well, who knows Sister Faith anyway? Anybody can be called Sister Faith. And then she started announcing how she slept with the camera guy, and now the camera guy doesn't want anything to do with her after he slept with her. Hey, I don't know who she announced that to, because I remember during choir practice, I'm like, I used to see Sister Faith a lot. I was like, Sister Faith. Somebody said she lives here somewhere. I said, I haven't seen her, I haven't bumped into her. Sister Faith. Mm, mm. Hey, she's like, oh, let me tell you, Pastor, after he slept with me, now he doesn't want anything to do with me. Anyway. The importance of posture in prayer. Of posture in prayer is the importance of posture in prayer is that it allows you to be direct with God in a sense where you position yourself for exactly the outcome that you are looking for. Right. Let me see if I can get a verse for you guys. Yo, why is the screensaver not coming off? Yeah, because some people are vague, you know? Yes, you can pray, bagada, standing up. But sometimes it's also important to know the posture you're praying while standing up. You know? You know, it's like pregnancy. Sometimes it's important to have a correct posture. Even lifting things, you know how they will teach you the correct posture to do certain things so that you don't weigh yourself down or cause injury. With posture in prayer, as last time I said, it enhances. No, fasting enhances prayer. Kneeling enhances prayer. And posture is another way to enhance your prayer. You know, kneeling, bowing. As I said, like when Prophet Lovi, I think he was on his way somewhere, and then he passed through Hope's service and just prostrated. You know, some people could just go in high and be like, "Oh, we're boys high," but I think because he was honoring the house of the house of the Lord, and he was also honoring the man of God, and he went and prostrated in front of him, but it was also honor in the sense, you know, that he takes seriously the people in the house of God, the the house of the Lord as well. And it was a form of humility, you know, because some people could just say, "Oh, I've known Hope for years. I can just go and just be like, yo, hi, yo." But then sometimes it's okay, regardless of how you know that person. So this is why I'm not against people like Sheridan saying that, you know, she went to serve in the church, because maybe people in the world expect that, oh, just because people are dating, you know, you serving also shows that you take, you you know, that the things of God are important to you. So even the posture of doing those things, it's a great importance, right? Yes, you know each other outside, you know each other intimately. However, it's a certain humility also, you know? It's a certain form of humility to say, you know what, just because he's my lover or my boyfriend does not mean that I cannot assist him in the things of God as you take certain things, you know, seriously. So for me, I would say that was, you know, so a certain posture in prayer is also a sign of humility. Humility, you know? And even other religions like Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, you know, they have different postures in prayer: standing, bowing, sitting, you know. And why posture matters? It's a physical manifestation of your internal state. It's a physical manifestation of your internal state, you know? And this is why a lot of people, like people say, oh, why do you have to do this? In African culture, we take posture quite seriously because we believe in honor. But it's not the only culture that believes in having the correct posture, you know? It has a symbolic meaning. If I come to you and maybe because I'm reverencing you as a person, like, hello ma, you know, you see somebody, hello ma, good morning pa, It's a symbol, it's a sign. So a posture in prayer, praying to God, you're also signifying something, you know. It's also a physical manifestation of your internal state. If I just go to church and I, I thank God, I thank God. Shared spiritual connection, understanding postures across faiths highlights the universal human connection between the body and the spirit in worship. Lifting your hands, kneeling, bowing, prostrating, standing, sitting, you know, they're all a sign. They all mean something. Does posture matter while praying? One can pray in whatever posture one feels. In most conductive prayer, if one's engaging in private, non legit, whatever that word is. What does the Bible say about standing in prayer? Psalms 4:4 says that we should stand in awe. In one parable of Jesus, both characters are standing for prayer in the temple. You know, I'm not saying standing is a bad posture in prayer, because at the end of the day, but then, people will get used to just one posture. Like you go to church and they get used to one posture in prayer. Everybody will just stand. You know? Whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father who is in heaven will also forgive your transgressions. Me sometimes standing in the gap means intercession and advocacy, acting as a spiritual mediator or advocate. Hmm. So there's more than one posture. There are 7 major postures of prayer: standing, lifting hands, kneeling, bowing, prostrating, falling on your face, sitting, and moving, such as walking around and swaying. There are people there was a lady who said, I don't go to certain churches because of how they pray. That's her choice. But then we also have to realize that there's certain people that they're going through certain things in life, they have their own personal relationship with God. But then there's some people that will go and be doing the same thing every weekend in church. They'll go and now be rolling on the floor every I think we've seen some of those, and it's like but then other people will understand that this person, that's the reason why they're doing it, because they're going through something. So maybe they're going through something that they're just being persistent in prayer. But then to another person, it can look like vain repetition. Like, why are you sitting there doing that every time? Elijah's prayer posture. involved bowing down to the ground and putting his face between his knees. Is that a how is that easy? No. A physical posture of deep humility, dependence, and fervent intensity in prayer, reflecting his seriousness and total submission to God during a drought. This posture was not a rigid rule, but a demonstration of a heart fully focused on God, conveying a posture of a prayer warrior seeking a powerful answer like the return of the rain. Elijah bowed to the ground, face between knees. So, what's the dependence? What's the significance of a posture? Humility and dependence, intensity and fervency, seriousness, prayer warrior mindset, focus and concentration. As I said, I don't pray, but many times I like to focus on my posture. For years, I've liked to focus on posture because it just shows the seriousness of maybe what you're doing, who you're talking to, what you want to achieve, as a goal. For example, if I lift my baby with the correct posture, it's not going to strain my back, right? Yes, I can have the correct, maybe placing the correct place to put the baby, like how now modern people have these high tables where they change the baby to make their job easier. But what if you don't have that? you know you just have a Moses basket. There's also certain ways you position yourself to lift that baby you know so posture plays a very important role even in our everyday lives. So why should we not you know use it in prayer also? People neglect forms of prayer, and it's like, sometimes I'll be in church and I'll feel like I need to kneel down and actually pray. Or many times I've been in church where I see people, praying, doing whatever they have to do, and I'll just sit on my chair. I'll just sit on my chair. But that's because of where I am with God, you know? But that's one thing I like about church. It's not like a proper school where somebody will go and say, "Why are you sitting down?" We are all standing up. Stand up. Or is you get me? Why are you Everybody has their own personal relationship in a way. Somebody could be looking like they're speaking the least tongues, but they have their own goal. They have their own goal as to what they wish to get from their prayer. For example, I know I was talking about aggressive prayers. I'm not against aggressive prayers because I used to do them. But I used to do them. Mm, yeah. It's been 56 minutes. Um, Let me look for a scripture. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. That's Psalms 95, verse 6. Kneeling, he, Jesus, knelt down and began to pray. And that's one thing I like about Jesus, that he shows us, he demonstrates, you know, how he used to pray, or how he likes to pray, or how he prayed. Yeah. I think I'm going to start teaching my kids also the the importance of posture in prayer. You know, I know I see Dion when he prays. Sometimes he'll pray for us in the car, and he'll bow his head. But I feel that he needs to be a bit more advanced in prayer. You know, significance of posture. As I said, worship. Many postures are intrinsically linked to the act of worship, with the Hebrew word for worship even meaning to bow down. Concentration and connection. So that person who said bowing down is not prayer, woe to you. Physical posture can help you focus the mindset and the heart, signaling a deep personal connection with God. You know, the posture of the heart. And any posture that expresses genuine humility, reverence, and dependence on God can be appropriate. Hannah stood while she prayed to God to give her a child. That's in Samuel 1, verse 26. Lifting or stretching up one's hands is a great display of prayer in the Bible. So a posture is also a display of prayer, you know. I will bow down in reverence for you. That's Psalms 5:7. Bowing is an appropriate posture of prayer. You know, I really hope you'll be able to share this with another person and it will bless them. Posture, not position. You know, people will look at kneeling as a position. No. If you look at it in the form of posture, then you realize it's a form of prayer. Lord, this is our prayer. We come before you broken and seeking your forgiveness and favor. We desire our posture to glorify you. This is James 4 verse 1 to 12 talks about posture, not position. You know, you adulterous people, don't you know that friendship with the world means enmity against God? Therefore, anyone who chooses to be a friend of God is an enemy. Oh, that's James 4:4. Where is that talking about posture? Oh, wow. I know the Bible says, and when you pray, you are not to be like as the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and on the street corners in order to be seen and heard. So there's nothing wrong with standing, but sometimes some people do it to be seen and heard. But then that's not always a bad thing, because if you want people to see that you're praying, at least you're showing them the way to say pray. By others, truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. That's Matthew 6:5. But they've received their reward. Of leading others to maybe pray. Who said that? I know it's in Matthew. Was it Matthew who said that? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I see Java's online. Oh, he hasn't started. Or is it? All night prayer. Hmm. I would really love to do an all night prayer with my children. Yeah. So, yeah. So it was just to say, like, I've started this series because, some people say, we want those that are qualified, only qualified with doctorate and what. Okay. Mm. Prayer quake. What's that? So that was a little on the importance of posture in prayer. Mm. 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 Does your posture in prayer affect the angels from doing anything? Let us uh this is just talking about exercise. Oh, in religious symbolic senses, angels are depicted with specific postures to convey meaning. Okay. The seraphim in Isaiah 6:2 stands with wings that cover their faces and feet, representing humility and profound awe in the presence of God. Protection. Other artistic renditions show angels in a protective stance, conveying a sense of guardianship or courage around humans. Symbolic actions. A posture of an angel, whether standing, flying, or in a state of reverence, carries symbolic weight within religious and artistic traditions. Yeah, I don't know. The rest is just about uh, an exercise. Yeah. Mm, where's this girl? Angels are described with postures reflecting their role as divine messengers and worshippers, such as standing for readiness and service, sitting for authority and mercy, ascending and descending to signify a connection between heaven and earth, and falling prostrate to show deep reverence and submission to God. The specific posture often symbolizes their functions or the nature of their divine encounter. hmm So, angels also, you know, do convey, is it convey? They also have postures, you know. Jacob's dream in Genesis 28, verses 12, depicts angels moving between heaven and earth, symbolizing a direct, ongoing connection and interaction between the divine and human realms. Falling face down. Yeah, we talked about is for reverence. Angels fall on their faces before God's throne to worship Him. Service and readiness. Standing and flying with wings shows angels as messengers are ready to obey God's commands. So it's not just us as humans who are called to 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 have the correct posture when praying, but also we see that angels also have their own postures for authority and judgment. Sitting can denote a position of authority and the administration of divine judgment or mercy. Intercession, the movement between heaven and earth, signifies their role as intermediaries, linking the heavenly and earthly realms. So I'm not going to be long on this. I'm about to leave you, but I really hope you learned something. Do like, comment, share, subscribe what you've learned, how this has blessed you, if you have utilized any postures in your prayer. Yeah. Hmm. I'm fixing the broken pieces of in your life. In your life. Oh, girl, when have you ever fixed? Sorry, I'm on WhatsApp. When have you ever fixed any in my life apart from your 20-pound tithe? Anytime she sees me, I like this girl though. She will come and give me 20-pound tithe anytime she sees me. Get ready for restoration. I'm preparing you for everything you prayed for. Hey, okay. I haven't been praying, but okay. Oh, oh, thank you for the note. Hello, note. After she said, what did she say? She said something about some people owe me. I said, you don't owe me. You paid me tithe. So what are you saying? She will come with a smile and a hug. She'll meet me in the shop. She'll meet me in the shop. Some of you, when you see me, pay me, pay me my tithe. Pay me my tithe and offering. Every time she see me, yeah, here you go. Here you go. I said, yeah, so that she can be going clubbing every Friday to be shouting where we are all clubbing. Where we Friday night, Friday night, Friday night, Friday night. Okay. Yeah, what I prayed for, I didn't pray. I haven't prayed. I haven't prayed. Oh, I prayed today about what did I pray about? I don't even remember the prayer. Never go to sleep without saying these 4 things to God. This one will post God, 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 Auntie. Gratitude, protection, guidance, peace. In my prayers, you listen. In my silence, you speak. In my believing, you work. In your mercies, I find strength. In your light, I find clarity. In your word, I find the path. That was nice. That's also a prayer. So as I leave you guys, that's one that if you want to repeat this after me as an ending of the prayer, of the service or the live, in my prayers, you listen. In my silence, you speak. In my believing, you work. In your mercy, I find strength. In your light, I find clarity. And in your word, I find the path. I'll post that on my YouTube channel and with other bits and pieces. Anyway, thanks for watching.